Greetings, friends. I'm Ken McAuliffe, the jazz vinyl lover, back again. How you doing? It's been a while since I made a video. I just have too much going on. I'm currently working on a feature on John Scofield for Downbeat for his upcoming record Combo 66. I just completed a Nate Smith cover story for Modern Drummer magazine. What else can I boast about? I have upcoming, should post any day now to the stereophile.com website, musicians' audio files with trumpeter Dave Smith, who has an insane system of Altec E604 horns and a Scott preamplifier and 2 turntables of EPI and a Reco-Cut and amazing Radio Craftsman amplifiers. So I just have a million things going on, plus I work a day job like everybody else in the world. But I want to talk about the new John Coltrane record, which just came out a couple weeks ago. Made it into the Billboard Top 100, which is astounding and shows the strength of not only Coltrane and nostalgia, but of marketing. But besides all that, I think it's a really wonderful record. It fills a great space between the Johnny Hartman record, which was recorded the next day, and the record that followed that, Crescent. That's when that record was recorded. And to me, it's a real bridge, the Both Directions at Once record on Impulse. It's a bridge. You can hear Coltrane referring to the older styles of music, covering standards like he was always wont to do, as in My Favorite Things, and his improvisational style moving forward. And when I did a piece for Stereophile on the record, they invited a bunch of journalists up to Rudy Van Gelder's. Robbie Coltrane was there and made the really great point that when they made that record, that was a new style of improvising. You know, compare where John Coltrane was in 1964 to Dave Brubeck, probably the most popular jazz musician of that period. You know, I know a lot of people love Dave Brubeck. I'm not one of them. That music to me is really straight, really white, and approaches just kind of, it's like frat boy jazz or something. I don't know, collegiate jazz. They even featured, whatever, not to get off on Dave Brubeck, but Coltrane was really pushing forward and led to all the great recordings on Impulse. So I wanted to cover a few records on Impulse and Atlantic, and I have Prestige somewhere. To me, are great recordings you should get if you don't already have them. Coltrane on Impulse. I think this has Inchworm, and just a great, you know, it's interesting to hear Rudy Van Gelder recording on Impulse and Prestige as opposed to Tom Dowd on Atlantic. The group sounds so different. And I'll jump ahead to back up my opinion to the great Giant Steps. This is a first pressing. I believe that's the first pressing. I've never heard a first pressing or a reissue that really sounds very good. The bass is just overloaded and so big, it's a weird record. I don't know where Tom Dowd's ears were, the famous engineer who did so many great rock records. But this is a classic, great record with Giant Steps, which I'm not sure of exactly the technical explanation here, but Giant Step was an innovative landmark composition, because I think it addressed all the different steps in the 12-tone row. Fuck, I don't know. I'm sure someone out there will write in and correct me. But a great record, a must-have, along with everything on Atlantic. In fact, if you were me, if I had the money right now, I'd buy the Coltrane mono box that Rhino put out there. Coltrane Plays the Blues and Coltrane Sound. And this record, that is really something. Because I know when I bought Coltrane Plays the Blues, which is one of my first jazz purchases, it's in stereo, and it's really weird. It's just that weird, strange stereo. So the fact that those are all on a mono now is really great. As is the Avant-Garde. This is a really great record. It's a bridge to the future, I believe. But sticking with the Impulse theme for a second, Crescent, a must-have for any Coltrane fan. This is a freaky 70s reissue. This includes the great Crescent, Bessie's Blues, Lonnie's Lament, the drum thing. This is essential Coltrane. If you don't own any Coltrane, I'd buy this in Coltrane Sound first. This came out a few years ago, Coltrane Live at the Half Note. There's also a Coltrane Live in Temple University, I think, that Impulse put out. These are great live recordings. Ballads. I've had arguments with people who claim that this was the label, along with the Johnny Hartman record, forcing Coltrane to go more mainstream so he could sell some records. I don't believe that for a fucking minute. At that point in his career, John Coltrane wasn't going to be told what to do by anybody. I mean, what's so odd about the idea that maybe the guy loved a beautiful sound? Geez, anybody could write Naima, obviously knows what a ballad is all about, and knows how to express himself in that context, and play to his absolute zenith in that context. This is a great recording. Playing ballads, a little more adventurous. Africa Brass. Soul Train, a Prestige record. This is a Classic Records reissue, which I would not recommend anyone buy. Hold out, find a OJC copy. Funny things happen to the cymbals on Classic Records. That's my take on it, but a great record. Another must-have from the Atlantic series, Olé. I believe there's a little Afro-Cuban on here. Dahomey Dance, yep, there's your Afro-Cuban. This is worth searching out for. This is an original stereo press. Then there are a bunch of lesser-known Coltrane recordings on Prestige. This being one of them. Blue Label, what is that? Early 60s, late 60s reissue. Definitely worth searching out for. I don't have that many Coltrane records, as opposed to like Miles Davis records. Coltrane just an important figure. But I'd be curious to know what are the essential John Coltrane recordings you believe every jazz fan should have. Thanks for checking in. Have a great day.